Okay, we've always talked about how niche.com ranks different towns in Southern Maryland and frankly all over the United States. But today, we're not going to talk about the best ranked towns. We're going to talk about the worst ranked towns according to niche.com in Southern Maryland. So make sure you stay tuned to see the top 3. Before we get started, go ahead and click the subscribe button, click the little bell so you're notified every single time we put out new content about moving to Southern Maryland and just PCSing in general. You can also scroll down to the first comment, click on the link, and it will schedule a Zoom meeting one-on-one with me where we can talk about your home buying needs. And last but not least, use that contact information below. Call me, text me, and I'd be happy to help you make that move a lot easier. All right, so what I'm gonna do today, like I said, is I'm gonna use niche.com and go over the 3 worst towns in Southern Maryland. Now, they're not all from the same county. What I decided to do was take each county, St. Mary's County, Charles County, and Calvert County, and find the worst ranked town according to niche.com. Now, I know there's going to be lots of comments about these 3 towns, so make sure you drop a comment below and tell me what you think about Niche's ratings. Now, I want to remind you, Niche rates it by their own criteria, so while it may be a worst town according to them, it may be the best town for you, and I gotta say, it's the #1 reason why I say do your research, but then go and verify. Go meet with a real estate agent or even just go on your own to go look at the different areas around Southern Maryland to make sure it's the place you want to be. So the first county we're going to start with is St. Mary's County. And look, I'm going to be scrolling down through St. Mary's County top places, and I'm going to go down to the last place that it's ranked. And the very, very last place it's ranked, the place with the lowest score, according to niche.com, is going to be right down here on St. George Island. So I'm going to go ahead and click on St. George Island. It's actually just going to bring me up a bigger map. I'm going to scroll down to it, click on it, and let's look at what its profile is. Now, if you're familiar with some of my videos, a lot of them are just looking through niche.com and looking over the different ratings. So you're going to see right here how niche.com ranks it and why it's ranked as the worst town in St. Mary's County. All right, so right here you can see it scores great for public schools, but as far as nightlife, diversity, good for families, and housing, it's just really ranked low. And that kind of makes sense because it's a really, really small community, really small town on an island in St. Mary's County. So nightlife, yeah, there's one restaurant there. Diversity, there's not a whole bunch of different people, whether it be race, age, cultural. It's kind of a very homogenous community on the island. You know, good for families. There's not a bunch of stuff to do right on the island itself if you're thinking about families. And I agree, housing, it can be a little bit pricey because a lot of people use St. George Island as kind of like their second home or vacation home too. And so just kind of scrolling down, you can see right here, 426 is the population of St. George Island. The median home price is well above the average of St. Mary's County, which is normally about in that $350,000. It's been up since 2020 and 2021, but normally that $350,000 to $400,000 range. So it's well above that. All right, and so then going through, the one thing it was ranked high for is kind of these scores right here. So looking at the different schools, one of the highlights of it is that Piney Point Elementary gets a B+, and it's actually districted for Leonardtown High School too. So that definitely helped rank up the score. Now, I actually lived on St. George Island. I used to live right down, and we'll go full screen, right down in this area. And do I think it's the worst town to live in Southern Maryland or in St. Mary's County? No. But do I think it's it's a specific place for specific taste? Yeah, definitely one of those places where I can see why niche.com in their rankings ranked it lower because they really value things like, easy commutes and, short walkability, that kind of stuff. And St. George Island just doesn't have that. You can really tell looking at this map just how far removed it is from a lot of different places. So looking up here, you got Lexington Park is up there. It's a good trek up there, and Leonardtown is all the way that way. So you're coming down on a peninsula and it just kind of makes it remote. But if that's what you like, if you like getting away from people, living by the water and fairly decent waterfront prices, then St. George Island might not be the worst place in St. Mary's County for you. All right, so let's go ahead and hop to the next one. The next one we're going to look at is going to be Calvert County. So Calvert County's worst place to live is kind of similar to St. Mary's County. So if we look, we're going to scroll through the rankings. You can see Dunkirk, if you've watched my videos, is really ranked high, same with Chesapeake Beach and Owings. But scrolling down here to the bottom, we're going to go to one of the lowest grades that they have, and it's going to be a tie between Brooms Island and Calvert Beach, and we're actually going to choose Brooms Island today. So Brooms Island gets a overall niche score of of a C, which is actually a little higher than St. George Island. The biggest knocks against it is actually it says it's not great for family and diversity, which is a similar thing that we saw with St. George Island. And it's because Brooms Island is really similar to St. George Island in a lot of ways. Now, I'm kind of shocked by this one, an A for nightlife. There is some stuff to do on there, but I don't know if it would call it nightlife. Similar population to Brooms Island, and similar population to St. George Island and similar home price. So you're seeing that same kind of thing where niche.com is saying it's the worst place to live in Calvert County because it's not meeting those metrics that it's using really to rank. That doesn't mean that it's the worst place to be, that you shouldn't go there, that it's not the place to be. It might be the worst place according to niche.com, but it might be the best place for you if you're looking for this specific type of lifestyle. So kind of going through here, and we'll go down and look at the schools. Now, Calvert County is the top school district in Southern Maryland, and its schools that are districted in or for Brooms Island are ranked really high as well. All right, so like looking again, it just is one of those places too, just like St. George Island. It's kind of far removed from those center areas. So it's a little bit removed from Lusby. It's a trek back over to St. Mary's if you're working on base at Lexington Park. And it's also farther from, a lot of people will go from Brooms Island, or a lot of people will travel from DC and live in the northern Calvert County area. And Brooms Island, you can see, is all the way down there. So niche.com is ranking it that way because there's just not a lot of things that check niche.com's boxes of a great place to live, in Southern Maryland. So again, it's ranked the worst, but I would definitely say there's a lot of attractiveness to Brooms Island itself. And it's got that same feel of St. George Island where you're thinking it could be like a second home kind of place. You can see it is surrounded by water. If you're looking to be somewhere kind of off the beaten path with some stuff around it, you can't beat Brooms Island because of how much waterfront there is there. It's almost like a little vacation town more than anything else. All right, and so our very last town, we're going to look at Charles County's worst ranked town. Now, Charles County is really a hot topic in a lot of my videos. I talk about Waldorf a lot, and I talk about Plata a lot, and people have strong opinions because Waldorf and Plata are changing. There's an increase in population, and the people that were there when it was really rural definitely feel like it's changing to a point that they don't feel like it's the place they grew up in. So I can understand that, but at the same time, you can't just take someone's opinion of what a place looks like or what a place feels like to know if it's right for you. I always like looking at so many different resources, including niche.com, to get a good idea, and also going and visiting yourself. So that's just kind of my disclaimer there. And let's jump into the worst town in Charles County, according to niche.com. All right, so I'm going to scroll through. You can see La Plata's number 1, Waldorf's number 2, Hughesville's number 3, and that's actually right next to St. Mary's County. And scrolling down, it doesn't rank a whole lot of towns. All right, so the worst ranked towns actually in Charles County, there's 2 of them. It's a tie. It's Cobb Island and it's Benedict. Now, both of these are really small towns. Cobb Island is really similar, again, to that Brooms Island, to that St. George Island kind of area where it's a small, there's some single family homes, or there's a good amount of single family homes, and there are families there, but it's another one of those remote towns. So niche.com regularly ranks those lower because of that. Small population, the home value is a lot lower than the other 2 islands we looked at. But still, it's that same kind of feel. You can see, we'll zoom out. First of all, of course, you can see it's an island right there, but zooming out, you can just see it's removed from those areas that you may be commuting to and from. So Waldorf is all the way up here, DC is all the way up here, an easy commute down from DC to Waldorf, La Plata, and and Cobb Island is all the way down here. And so there's just not a whole bunch of niche.com stuff to do there. There's not a whole bunch of diversity, nightlife, that kind of stuff. But if you want this kind of lifestyle, if you want to be on the water, if you want to be away from people, if you want like a little small, slice of vacation life, Cobb Island can definitely be that right place. Now, the other place they ranked was Benedict, and Benedict actually is right here. So it's right on this dividing line between Charles County and Calvert County, and it's just another small area. You can see it's the same kind of thing where it's a really tiny population, and I think niche.com just doesn't know how to really rank those well. And so Benedict is, again, one of those places that, it could be the right place for you. There's not much to choose from in Benedict because it is so small, but it's, again, near the water, kind of a small population. And Benedict's actually a little more centrally located than other ones. You can see that, DC isn't too far from Benedict. You can shoot across the 231 to get to Lusby, 231 bridge to get to Lusby, or you can be up into Chesapeake Beach and Annapolis area pretty quick too. But it's just so small that niche.com, I think, has a hard time ranking it. All right, so hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully you understand that when niche.com ranks a place, lower or its lowest ranking, it doesn't always mean it's the worst place to be, period, for you. You want to get out there and you really want to understand what you want in a home when you're moving to Southern Maryland and what fits your needs. So if you're someone that's looking to live around like a Navy base or something like that, even though St. George Island is ranked really low, it might be the best choice for you if you like kind of being away from everything and that slower rural pace of life, but still being by the water and being by the Pax River Navy base. All right, hopefully this information was helpful. If you have any questions or need any help, make sure you use that contact information below. Call me, text me, and I'd be happy to help you make that move. You can also scroll down to the first comment, click on the link, and it will schedule a Zoom meeting one-on-one with me where we can talk about your home buying needs. And last but not least, and if you haven't yet, click the subscribe button, click the little bell so you're notified every single time we put out new content.